I've got a confession to make. Out of the last 200 songs I've mastered, only about 15 of them actually went through my analog hardware. And here's the crazy part. Nobody noticed. And if you don't believe me, take it from some of my clients. Christian said I've struggled to elevate my mixes in the mastering stage without emptying my bank account, but that has changed since going to Matty. He delivered 10 times my expectations when it comes to audio quality. Another client from SoundBetter told me it was his first time using the platform, and he was glad I was his first choice. Since then, we've gone on to master 2 full albums and 2 EPs together. And I even mastered Cuco's Fantasy Gateway on Interscope Records, which has millions of plays, completely in the box. Now, before I explain the reasons I've mastered 90% of the time in the box, let's play a quick game. This is the same song. One version is in the box, and the other is through my analog chain. Can you tell the difference?
I put my weight all on you. I can't bear it by myself. I put my weight all on you, and you hold it for me. You know it's shorty. I put my weight on you.
Drop your answer in the comments below, and at the end of the video, I'll tell you which one is which. Now let's get into the reasons. The first reason I mostly stay in the box is simple. Every time you go through analog converters, even really expensive ones, you risk softening your transients and slightly degrading the audio on the way in and out. Now, I use high-end mastering converters by Link, so it's not a huge issue, but even then, it still happens ever so slightly. And in today's loudness wars, when we're fighting for every last dB while trying to maintain clarity and punch, even the smallest transient loss matters. And if you're using a more budget-friendly converter just to run audio through a piece of hardware because it's analog so it must sound better, I hate to break it to you, but you're doing more harm than good. That converter round trip is probably smearing more details than the hardware is adding. So unless you really know your signal chain and you're certain it's improving things, staying digital keeps your audio cleaner and more consistent. All right, the second reason, and I know some people won't like hearing this, but I'm gonna say it anyway, plugins sound just as good as analog now. And honestly, in a lot of situations, they're better because they're way more flexible. With plugins, I can audition 5 different EQs and 4 different limiters in like 30 seconds. Just a few clicks and I'm comparing them back to back. In the analog world, that's not really possible. I mean, even if I had 4 different analog EQs, which let's be real, most of us don't, I'd have to physically unpatch one to patch the other one in. Unless I wanted to keep them all chained together in series, which I don't think is a great idea either. But either way, that's going to take longer. We're talking minutes instead of seconds just to A/B a couple options. And when you're mastering and trying to make critical decisions about what sounds best, the speed matters. The faster I can compare, the better my decisions are, because I'm not losing my reference point or getting fatigued from all the technical busy work. And here's another thing. I can automate stuff hardware could never do. If I want the EQ to slightly lift in the chorus, no problem. If I want to bring in the stereo field during the verse, that's just a few clicks as well. With analog gear, those moves are either impossible or so tedious that they're not worth doing. But with plugins, I can shape the song dynamically, section by section, to make sure every moment hits exactly how it needs to. At the end of the day, I only care about one thing, making the song sound like a hit record. And the more options I can explore to get there without slowing down, because I'm a firm believer in staying in the flow when working on music, the better the results. The gear is just a tool. What matters is the final product. And if a plugin lets me work faster, smarter, and with more creative possibilities, that's what I'm going to use. Reason number 3 is recalls and turnaround time. People want revisions fast these days, like really fast. So imagine this, a client emails me saying, hey, remember that master we did 2 weeks ago? It still sounds great, but I was wondering if we could add just the slightest top end to it and it would make it sound even better. Now, if I'm using analog gear, I've got to power on the entire rack, find the recall settings, A/B it with the last master to make sure nothing has changed with the gear as far as tubes and whatnot, then make changes and send back. And in order to do this and still stay in business, I'm probably going to have to charge a fee to my client for the time it takes for the revision. But in the box, click, done, I send it back in 5 minutes. It's instant delivery. No fear that something's going to sound different. And here's the thing. Because it only took me 5 minutes to do, I'm not going to charge my client extra money for a tiny revision like that. So I'm sure they'll be happy as well. And that's just the reality of working in 2025. Speed matters. accuracy matters. And honestly, my clients don't care how I get there. They just want their mix back and they want it now. All right, so one final thought before I reveal the A/B test answers. I'm not saying I never use analog gear. As I said in the beginning, I actually did use it on about 15 of the 200 masters I've done recently. And in those cases, it really did make a difference. Most of the time, it was to add color or weight that I was having trouble getting in the box. And here's the thing. When I know that that specific piece of gear does the exact thing I need it to, it's actually quicker to just patch in the analog chain and get it, instead of spending, forever cycling through 2 emulations and saturation plugins trying to find the right vibe. But if you're at home working on your own song, I don't want anyone to think that you need analog hardware in order to sound professional. It's just not true anymore. The plugins we have now are incredible, like legitimately world-class. You can make a record that competes with anything on the charts using nothing but your laptop and some good software. And as the saying goes, it's not the gear, it's the ear. If you know what you're listening for, if you understand how to shape a mix or a master, the tools don't matter nearly as much as people think. I've heard bedroom productions that sound better than stuff that came out of $1 million studios. So don't let gear hold you back. Don't think you need to drop thousands of dollars on hardware before you can make something great. You already have everything you need. With that said, if you are going to spend money on analog gear, spend it on the front end during the recording process. I still believe high-quality microphones and preamps can do a lot to improve your final song. Because once you capture a great sound at the source, everything else gets easier. But for mixing and mastering, plugins pretty much have you covered. All right, so let's play the 2 masters again, and I'll let you know which one was the analog version.
I put my weight all on you. I can't bear it by myself. I put my weight all on you. And you hold it for me. You know it's shorty. I put my weight on you.
All right, so you better have your votes in on the comments below before I give you this answer. Don't be the guy that waits for the answer and then puts his comments that he knew it was analog because of the width or whatever you're going to say. But analog is B and digital is A. And I guarantee no one could really tell the difference between both. All right, so that's the video. If you need your songs mixed or mastered, hit me up at mixandmastermysong.com, and I'll see you in the next one.